Did you know that your kitchen, the heart of your home, can be a place of imminent danger? Those everyday, almost automatic habits you practice daily while preparing your favorite meals might be putting you at risk without you realizing it. Small oversights, simple gestures that become routine, hold a destructive potential that can turn your home into a horror scene in a matter of seconds. Smoke, the smell of burning, and heat can be the first signs of a disaster. In this video, we're going to reveal 7 extremely dangerous and common kitchen habits that, unfortunately, many people practice without the slightest awareness of the risk. Get ready to discover how small changes in your routine can make a huge difference in the safety of your home and family. Knowing these dangers is the first step to avoiding them and ensuring your kitchen remains a place of love, flavor, and, above all, safety. Stay with us until the end to protect your home. Chapter 1. Leaving pots on the stove unattended. Imagine the scene. You're cooking something delicious, the smell spreads through the house, and suddenly the phone rings or a child calls you. Without a second thought, you step away from the pot, even if it's just for an instant. That instant is all the time an accident needs to happen, turning a peaceful meal into a disaster. Oil can quickly overheat, or the flame can lick the handle of an utensil, causing a fire in mere seconds. The kitchen, however familiar it may be, demands our full attention when the flames are on or the oven is lit. Leaving pots on the stove unattended is one of the biggest triggers for residential fires, and many cases recorded annually start exactly with this oversight. It doesn't matter if it's simple rice or a slow-cooked sauce. A lack of vigilance can have devastating consequences, far beyond a lost meal. Think about the amount of grease and flammable vapors that accumulate in the air while we cook. An unattended flame, even if it seems small, can easily find an ignition point in this atmosphere, or the food can burn and excessive heat can spread the fire. That's why the golden rule is, if it's on the stove, keep an eye on it. Your home's safety is worth far more than any momentary distraction. Distraction is the #1 enemy in the kitchen. If you need to leave the kitchen for any reason, even quickly, turn off the stove. It's a simple habit, but one that can save lives and property. Don't underestimate how quickly a small heat source can turn into an uncontrollable fire. You can never be too careful when it comes to home safety. Remember that fire spreads surprisingly and relentlessly. A small flame in a pot can quickly consume curtains, cabinets, and the entire kitchen, turning your home to ashes. Therefore, the rule is clear. When cooking, be present. Your vigilance is the first line of defense against accidents that could easily be avoided with a little more attention. Chapter 2. Grease buildup on the stove, oven, or range hood. Grease is a silent villain in the kitchen, imperceptibly accumulating on surfaces like the stove, inside the oven, and especially in the range hood. These layers of grease and food residues, often forgotten in the cleaning routine, are highly flammable. They become perfect fuel for any spark or stray flame, turning a small incident into a major fire. Think about your range hood. It's there to draw out smoke and steam, but it also captures grease particles that solidify over time. A grease-saturated filter not only loses its effectiveness, but becomes a ticking time bomb. A high flame from the stove can easily reach this accumulated grease and cause a fire that quickly spreads through the entire ductwork, reaching invisible areas of your kitchen. On the stove and in the oven, charred grease crusts and food remnants are equally dangerous. When reheated, these residues can generate excessive smoke, but the greater risk is that they become an ignition point for larger flames. A simple splash of hot oil or a spark from the igniter can be enough to start a fire where grease is present, leading to a widespread blaze. Regular cleaning is your greatest ally against this hidden danger. Clean your stove after each use and dedicate weekly time for a deeper clean, including the oven. Don't forget the range hood and its filters. They need constant attention. Removing accumulated grease is a crucial preventive measure that drastically reduces the risk of fires in your kitchen. Prioritizing the maintenance and hygiene of this equipment is not just about aesthetics, but about safety. A clean kitchen is not only more pleasant, it's safer. Dedicate yourself to removing any trace of grease, and you'll be eliminating one of the biggest risk factors for household fires, ensuring a more protected environment for you and your family. Chapter 3. Using dishcloths near flames or hot stove burners. Dishcloths are indispensable tools in the kitchen, always at hand for wiping spills, holding hot pots, or drying dishes. However, the convenience they offer can turn into a real danger when not handled carefully. The light and often dry texture of these cloths makes them extremely flammable, and just one moment of carelessness is all it takes for them to become fuel for a fire. How many times have you left a dishcloth lying near the stove burner while cooking, perhaps to dry, or out of laziness to put it away? This is a common scene, but incredibly risky. A small flicker, a spark, or the radiant heat from the pot can be enough to ignite the fabric in seconds, turning your kitchen into a stage for despair. The danger is even greater when it comes to grease-stained cloths. Oil particles and other food residues stuck in the fabric fibers act as a flame accelerator, causing the fire to spread even more rapidly and with greater intensity. A dishcloth that catches fire can easily ignite other nearby flammable objects, such as curtains or plastic packaging. The solution is simple. Keep all flammable materials, including dishcloths, tablecloths, and even food packaging, at a safe distance from the stove and any heat source. Make it a habit to store dishcloths in drawers or hang them in areas away from the cooking zone, especially when the stove is in use. Small organizational habits can make a huge difference in preventing accidents. A simple gesture of putting the dishcloth in the right place, away from the danger of flames, is an act of safety that protects your home and your family. Don't underestimate the flammable potential of a dry or dirty dishcloth. Caution is always the best attitude in the kitchen. Chapter 4. Storing flammable objects, sprays, alcohol near heat sources. The convenience of having cleaning products, aerosols, or even food packaging close at hand in the kitchen is tempting, but it can be fatal. Many of these items contain highly flammable substances, such as alcohol, solvents, or propellant gases, which react explosively to heat or flames. Storing them near the stove, oven, or even on top of the refrigerator, which radiates heat, is an open invitation to disaster. Think of aerosol deodorants, hairsprays, or even insecticides that are sometimes stored on high shelves in the kitchen, near the ceiling where heat concentrates. The internal pressure in these containers increases drastically with heating, which can lead to an explosion, and consequently, the release of a flammable spray that easily ignites, turning the environment into an inferno. Alcohol, whether liquid or gel, widely used for cleaning and disinfection, is another extremely dangerous item when stored incorrectly. A bottle of alcohol left near a lit stove burner, even for a brief moment, can evaporate, and its invisible particles in the air can come into contact with the fire, causing a flare-up or even a sudden and violent explosion. The golden rule is distance equals safety. Keep all flammable products away from any heat source in the kitchen. Lower cabinets, pantries, or cool, dry areas are the safest places to store these items. Never place them on top of the stove, oven, microwave, or any other appliance that generates heat, even minimally. Your home should be a sanctuary of safety. Regularly review the products stored in your kitchen and reorganize them to ensure no flammable materials are at risk. This simple change of habit can prevent very serious accidents and ensure your kitchen remains a functional and, above all, safe space for your family. Chapter 5. Overloading outlets with multiple powerful appliances. The modern kitchen is a true hub of appliances with blenders, mixers, electric ovens, air fryers, and microwaves vying for space on countertops and, of course, in outlets. The convenience of plugging multiple appliances into a single outlet using power strips or extension cords is a common habit. However, this practice can overload the electrical wiring and become a serious fire hazard that many people are unaware of. Every outlet and electrical circuit in your home is designed to handle a maximum amount of current. When you plug multiple powerful appliances into a single outlet, especially those that generate heat, like toasters or electric ovens, the energy demand can exceed the circuit's capacity. This causes the wires to overheat, which can melt the insulation and start a short circuit. One of the first signs that an outlet is overloaded is the smell of burning plastic, excessive heat to the touch at the outlet or plug, or even flickering lights. Ignoring these warnings is extremely dangerous, as the internal wiring in the walls could be overheating unseen, setting the stage for an electrical fire that spreads silently through the house's structure. To avoid this danger, it is crucial to distribute appliances across different circuits and outlets. Avoid using power strips and extension cords for high-power appliances. If you need more outlets in a specific kitchen area, consider having new electrical points installed by a qualified professional, ensuring the wiring is adequate for the load. Invest in your kitchen's electrical safety. Understanding and respecting the limits of your electrical system is fundamental to preventing fires. Small changes in your connection habits can protect your home from disaster. Remember, electrical safety is just as important as fire safety, and an overload can be the trigger for both. Chapter 6. Not having the appropriate fire extinguisher Class K for grease and not knowing how to use it. Having a fire extinguisher at home is a smart safety measure, but having the right extinguisher for the type of fire that can occur in the kitchen is crucial. Many kitchen fires involve oil and grease, which are very specific fire classifications. Using the wrong extinguisher or not knowing how to handle it correctly can not only fail to put out the fire, but also dangerously and uncontrollably worsen the situation. Class K fires are those involving cooking oils and fats, vegetable or animal, in commercial or residential cooking equipment. These fires are extremely dangerous because water spreads them, and general purpose, ABC, extinguishers may not be effective enough or even cause splashes of boiling grease. A Class K extinguisher, however, is specifically formulated to cool the grease and create a foam that smothers the flames. Many people buy an extinguisher just to have one without informing themselves about the different types and their applications. Ignoring the existence of a Class K extinguisher for your kitchen is a serious mistake that can be costly. An ABC extinguisher is good for wood and paper, but for hot grease in a pan, it can be ineffective or, worse, spread the fire instead of containing it, increasing the risk. In addition to having the correct extinguisher, it's essential to know how to use it. There's no point in having the most modern equipment if, in an emergency, panic prevents you from activating it or you don't know the proper technique. Familiarize yourself with the PASS acronym. Pull the pin, aim at the base of the fire, squeeze the handle, sweep from side to side, and practice mentally. Safety begins with knowledge. Invest in a Class K extinguisher for your kitchen, and more importantly, take the time to learn about it. Training yourself and other household members on the location and correct use of the extinguisher can be the difference between a small scare and a tragedy. Be prepared. Prevention is always the best strategy. Chapter 7. Trying to extinguish oil/grease fires with water. This is perhaps the most dangerous and instinctive mistake people make when faced with an oil or grease fire in the kitchen, the immediate attempt to throw water on it. The logic seems to make sense. Water puts out fire, right? However, when it comes to superheated or flaming grease, water is the worst enemy. Instead of putting out the fire, it instantly spreads it, turning a flaming pan into an explosive fireball. The science behind this phenomenon is simple but terrifying. Water is denser than oil, and when thrown on it, it sinks. However, boiling oil is at a much higher temperature than water's boiling point, 100 degrees Celsius per 212 degrees Fahrenheit. When water hits superheated oil, it instantly vaporizes, turning into steam. This steam expands violently, carrying with it the flaming oil particles, like a flaming aerosol. The result is an explosion of flames that can spread throughout the kitchen in milliseconds, causing severe burns to anyone who tried to put out the fire and igniting curtains, cabinets, and the ceiling. Many videos and images of household accidents show exactly this catastrophic scenario, where the good intention of putting out the fire turns into a disaster of gigantic proportions. So, what's the correct action to take when faced with an oil or grease fire? The first and most important rule is never throw water. If the fire is contained in a small pan, try to cover the pan with a metal lid, never glass, which can shatter. This deprives the fire of oxygen and smothers it. If the pan doesn't have a lid, a thick, damp cloth, or a Class K extinguisher, as mentioned in the previous chapter, can be used with extreme caution. In case of doubt, or if the fire is spreading rapidly, your priority should be personal safety. Abandon the area immediately, call the fire department, and only attempt to fight the fire if you have the right equipment and know exactly what you're doing. Your life and your family's lives are worth more than any material item. Caution and correct information are your greatest allies. Conclusion: we have reached the end of our journey through the hidden dangers of the kitchen. We hope this video has raised an alarm and transformed your perception of home safety. The 7 habits we explored today, from carelessness with pots on the stove to the dangerous attempt to extinguish flaming oil with water, are more common than we imagine, and understanding their risks is the first and most important step to protecting our loved ones and our property. Remember, your kitchen should be a place of creation and celebration, not danger. Small changes in habits and awareness of safe practices can prevent devastating accidents. Share this knowledge with your family and friends, because everyone's safety begins with information. Taking care of your home is taking care of yourself. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our upcoming content on safety, tips, and much more. Your subscription and likes help us spread this important message to more people. Hit the bell icon to be notified whenever we have a new video.